welcome to the Temple Athlete Advisory Podcast. This is our first episode. I'm Erik Temple, the CEO and co-founder of Temple Athlete Advisory Group. I'm here with Grant Temple, who's my brother. We don't look anything alike. But now I just want to welcome you guys to the podcast, and we hope that you follow future episodes, and Grant's going to tell you guys a little bit about who we are.
So here at Temple Athlete Advisory Group 1, we got Erik, current college soccer head coach. He's also a former college pathway director who's helped place over 150 kids. How I work into the mix here, I've helped build multiple businesses as a consultant, so I understand what needs to happen operationally to make something like this run and give people a great experience. And our main goal with this is ultimately to help people find or help college soccer families or people navigating the college soccer recruiting process find the actual best fit for them. And that's something that, it's kind of a framework or an idea that Erik had been operating under. And I was like, look, people need this. We need to get this out to the public. And we just have unique perspectives because obviously he's a college soccer head coach. He's helped, place people. That's our main goal here. And the future of this podcast is going to include, a few different things here. We'll have coaches on. We're going to give solid information. What else do you think we'll be covering?
I think it's just like bringing some college coaches on that give a different perspective at each level, right? D1, D2, D3. Going through a series of questions and dialogues to give you a better insight on kind of the current landscape of the college game, right? We want to make this fun and interactive, right? We'll probably bring on some former players of mine that are in the college game to give their perspective and how they kind of found their best fit and where they are in their world, and anybody that kind of joined us here at Temple Athlete Advisory, kind of their experience as well, right? So just another way we can connect, with our clients, with hopefully our fans, right, eventually, and really create a platform where people can come on and get some information and help guide them through the college recruiting process. So we're super excited to kind of kick this off as a different platform of reaching people that we want to help.
Yeah, and let's start here because I think it's important that people understand the actual context and the frame that we're operating under. So when we say best fit, like what does that mean to you, and why do you feel that that's actually important for people navigating this process?
Yeah, so I think it's, I always try to use different analogies, right? You're buying a house, you're buying a car, you want like the best house for your family or the best car that you need to drive every day. The college process is no different, right? You have to step into this world for the next 4 years as a student athlete and really feel like you check the boxes and what's important to you. So what we hammer here, at Temple Athlete Advisory Group in your best fit is like you identify the key components and we help guide you to making sure that you're checking the boxes, right? So, little insight, right? 5 most important things. Is it, location, size, academic pedigree, program prestige, early playing time, right? Anybody can name 10, 12, 15, 20. We want to narrow it down to your top, 5 to 7 checklist items. And as we guide you through this process, what we really want to focus on, right, is how do you find your best fit? If those, 6 or 7 things, you don't check any of those boxes, we probably didn't find your best fit. Maybe you're reaching for a program based on, how many social media likes you're going to get, right? Or what the perception of you as a player is, right? We all live in that social media world where at the core component of what we're doing is like, if location matters, let's hit your location. If the size of the school matters, let's hit it, right? We lost our beautiful logo here in the background.
We'll let it ride for right now. It's all good. But
now we got Grant's life up here. His fake Rolex.
There we go.
But no, it's an exciting time here, and I think we really want to just really try to help everybody find their best fit, right?
Yeah. Well, what happens when people don't find their best fit? Because I think it's important to, again, not only why we're doing this and what best fit means, but really the consequences of not finding the best fit. I know transfer portals are loaded. Students get to colleges and they're like, dang, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. This isn't the experience that I wanted to have. So, from your perspective, not only as a college coach, but someone who's actually helped place a lot of kids, help people through the transfer portal process, I mean, what's the ramifications of chasing maybe vanity, like you were saying, right? It's the social media likes, the brand name logo, the big name school that might not be the best fit. So what are actually some of the consequences that you find of not finding the best fit?
Yeah, and I wanted to be clear, like there's so many good programs out there and great college coaches that are, colleagues of mine that built relationships with. Let it be clear, like if you find the best fit and it's at a big D1 program, then that's the best fit, right? Like, that's important too. Best fit doesn't always mean scaling down to something. It just means that you're truly finding your best fit, not getting enamored, right, with the logo, with the Instagram post. Ramifications are big, right? I mean, I think two things. You play your whole college career, your whole club career to get to college and build your college career. And so it's investment in money, right? All those showcases that you went to and the college ID clinics and the games that mom and dad had to track you around to get recruited. Time is money. So it's the time invested over, from the time you're 12 years old, 13 years old to 19 in the time that your family puts in and the sacrifices. Maybe you didn't get to go to your high school prom or you missed certain, key events that other kids get to go to because you've sacrificed to be a college athlete. And then to your point, the transfer portal, right? Like it's a beast. On the men's side, at a certain point last year, 6,000 kids plus in the portal. We talked about this, right? I think what we say 850 programs, estimate, yep. And you have 6,000 or 7,000 kids, throw that number in a blender, spit it back out. And that's how many kids could just find a new school without an 18-year-old being recruited. You could shuffle that whole deck and a college program could literally just live in the portal with a reshuffle just in recruiting alone out of the portal. So those are like the long-term ramifications. If you don't find your best fit, you're in the transfer portal. When you're in the transfer portal, you might as well be right back in the recruiting process. And a lot of times the reason you go into the portal is you didn't find your best fit. So it comes at a sacrifice of maybe 0 playing time. Now you've gone for a year, played no minutes. College coach is asking for film. You don't have any. Go back to you didn't play. So it can back you into a pretty tight corner, right? So finding the best fit is checking all the boxes that are important to you. Like if you're a guy that likes playing time, don't pick a school where the coach goes, we don't see you playing for 2 years. You walk yourself into that, right? So those are the ramifications.
Yeah, and I know I made a video that we posted on our page here, and I can't remember exactly what the whole context of it was, but I think it's a good analogy is that, even with talking with families who we're currently helping, people that we were potentially going to help, just having conversations around people navigating this is that they're eating an apple like an orange and wondering why it tastes funny. Yeah. It's like you think you're doing the right thing and it's just, you're not. You don't have the right strategy in place. And the symptoms that actually come from that is feeling uncertain about the process. You're not getting the responses that you want. You start to feel behind.
We heard the word relief a lot, right?
Relief. Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that was interesting. The two families that were kind of our founding members here, we had our very first onboarding roadmap call where we're just getting an exact assessment of where they're at and what their process is going to look like. And at the end of the call, I just asked, how are you feeling before this call and how are you feeling after? And both of them, unrelated, used the word relief.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting. I didn't know what they were going to answer, but I almost would have expected like excitement, confidence, clarity. And it's not to say they didn't have those things, but what they first felt was relief.
And I think it hit all those, right?
Yeah.
The reality is in that conversation, we gave them confidence and clarity and a pathway forward. Yeah. How they had been feeling was stressed. So the reaction was relief. Like, now I know. And that was in one, 45-minute kind of like set your own roadmap to the college process with two families that were in completely different circumstances, two different parts of the country, right? Mm-hmm. And so, we hope to provide that to our clients, right? We want to take the burden off of your shoulders a little bit here and give you the knowledge that we have and the connections that we have to hopefully build on words like relief, right? Get to excitement, get to clarity, get to, a point where they feel like it was worth the time and the investment, right? And it's reinvesting into yourself in this process.
Yeah, and something that kind of stands out to me is that there's kind of two pieces to this. There's operating from a place of uncertainty, which I think a lot of people are. Like, they really are uncertain about the whole process and they're feeling that. So the decisions they make are coming from a place of uncertainty. And imagine just anything you're doing in life, operating from a place of uncertainty, it's going to affect the way your decisions are made. So you want to have certainty in this process, a clear strategy, so you know that when you're executing on things, you're doing it with confidence. But I think even worse than operating from uncertainty is operating from false certainty, where you really think you know what you're doing, and then all of a sudden you're behind. You're not getting the results that from the recruiting efforts that you're putting in. And then you're like, dang, I'm really behind on this.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's too late. And one thing that it almost took me a little time to appreciate, or for it to land for me, I know you just kind of know this because you've been in this particular space for a long time, is you only get one shot at this.
The second one isn't great. We talked about the transfer portal, right? So you get multiple swings at a game on the weekend, and there's another game to be played. There's another practice if you have a bad practice, right? But you get the recruiting piece wrong. You put yourself in a hell of a predicament for sure.
Yeah, I mean, your kid's only 17, sophomore, junior, senior year of high school, one time. And I think when we went live, I used kind of the analogy of, you can lose, like everyone wants to lose weight. Everyone's probably need to lose a couple pounds at some point. And there's always got to be a defining moment of, all right, today is the day that makes something change. But the reality is you could decide that day is today. It could be a week from now, a month from now, or 10 years from now. And you can still lose weight, right? So
the gym in January is packed.
But point being is that you don't get that with this. Like time goes by and you're not going to get it back.
You can't work backwards.
One window with this, and you need to make sure that you're doing the right things in the process, and that's super important.
Yeah, no, it is. It's you don't want to sound as make it sound as damning as it is, but it kind of is, right? Like the reality is you can't go backwards and be like, I wish I emailed more coaches. I wish I had a bigger list. I wish I started sooner. I wish I got help. It's like the space that we're in right now is everyone needs help. Like the clubs do a fantastic job. Obviously we're on the East Coast here, and there's so many good clubs that are providing exposure and doing the things on the field that are really important, right? Because the reality is you can do all this work, but if you're not a good player, the coaches aren't going to recruit you. But you could be a really good player with these blindfold on or these blinders on. That's like, because I'm a good player, it's just going to happen. And that's where we come in. We're the off the field. We're in your corner to help you off the field, because the reality is I worked at a club and it was my job, and it's a fantastic club, and had a great time there, and helped place a lot of kids, and a lot of those are the testimonials that we have, right? And so the reality is that we need to be here behind the scenes, because you can only ask so much of your club. You can only ask so much of your club coach. Keep in mind that club coach may be coaching one or two teams. That's 36 to 40 players. He's worried about practice sessions, performances, evaluations, getting you ready to play in college. The focus can also be, hey, I need to call 3 to 5 college coaches for each player on the team. Okay, 30 kids, 5 phone calls, 150 phone calls, 30 minutes per call. Like the time runs out. Runs out. And then ultimately at the club, like, hey, coach cancels practice for the week. I got to get all these college calls in. Now you're like, well, my kid's not playing in college if he's not practicing. So I think that's what we're trying to do here, right? Our vision is to take some of the stress off and provide a platform that you can utilize us off the field in collaboration with the great exposure that the clubs are giving, the MLS Next and ECNL and Girls Academy and USYS. All those platforms are there for the exposure. We're here for the advisory.
Yeah, and I like the word advisory as well. We're very particular about that because I want to give some context to it. We want to differentiate ourselves from and this is no knock on anyone, we'll never talk bad about anyone else, but there's more generic recruiting services, and we want to differentiate ourselves from that because we are different, right? Like most recruiting services, they're about getting more exposure. It's emailing a bunch of coaches, getting your highlight tape in front of people. And not saying that there's anything particularly wrong with that, but our approach is different. We want to work more closely one-on-one with families to make sure that they're actually finding the best fit. And the perspective that we have that most just, recruiting services don't, is that you're actually a college coach.
Right.
You're experiencing it in your daily life every single day. So
we're seeing massive changes even right now, right? Just more kids looking at potential gap years or extending their club career because they're not getting the looks that they want, right? The trickle down of the D1 changes and all these things are just having a heavy impact on, what a normal recruiting cycle looks like. So yeah, you're completely right. We're not here blasting emails out. We're not sending it to 850 schools. You should take this kid. We're going to identify what your key marks are in best fit. And then we're going to try to find a pathway based on your preferences of where we advise you to go. Right. And, and ultimately the decision is going to be of the family and of the person. Right. But we can give our best advice in that space. So,
yeah. And I think it's a little important just to give some context around our own college recruiting process, like personally, because we have two quite different ones. So you being the older one, like, briefly explain exactly what that process was like for you and the end result, and then I'll kind of give my end result, which is vastly different.
The space is way different, right? When I played, there were no MLS academies, right? Your path was you played for a club, you won state cup, you went to regionals, you went to nationals, you did ODP, and ODP was your platform to regional team, national team, right? Now we live in this space of like paid academies, meaning you pay to play for a club, where you have your MLS academies that they're schooling you. They want you to become a professional in their system. And now there's so many tiers to the soccer landscape, right, that it's changed. But I still go back to my process. Like I found my best fit. Unfortunately picked up some injuries that my college career never went in the direction that I wanted, but I think it ultimately landed me in this space of being a college coach now. And so, I went on my visits. I went to, Hartwick and Fairleigh Dickinson and Loyola and ended up at York College of Pennsylvania and, got injured at the very beginning of my career, but played on teams that made the Elite Eight, went undefeated my freshman year as part of the group and, obviously not on the field, but in whatever role I had. And, when I went back to my checklist thinking about it, I found the best fit because even though I was injured, I still liked the place that I was at and the relationships. And if you pick a school based on just one thing alone, just soccer, right, then you're transferring because if soccer goes away, do I want to stay there? Do I want to be there? Soccer went away from me in some capacity and, York was home for me. And so that was kind of my end path. And we'll get to it in future episodes of, how the visits went and what, the D1 path looked like and the D3 path and ultimately why we got there. But, that's, I guess, a cliff notes of 20 years ago or whatever it was.
Yeah. And for me, same kind of, the landscape was the same. Played for a really good club team. We won state cup, was at regionals. So it was funny enough, just after college coaches would be able to talk to you, right? It was after my sophomore year. It was like, July 4th weekend, whenever regionals was, somewhere around there, and playing in a competitive game. I blew my knee out, pretty significant injury. And I missed the next year, which is literally the most important time for the college soccer recruiting
process. The time we're talking about right now, right?
Yeah. And look, our dad was the coach, a licensed coach, which was not common at that point.
Or the A license?
Yeah, I guess both.
Yeah.
But I didn't, and this is no knock on him or anything. It was just like I didn't have something like we have now to navigate that process. So my focus was just like getting healthy again, and I really wasn't healthy again until like winter season of my senior year.
Yeah.
And at that point, I had literally zero momentum towards any sort of college, and what it resulted in was me making a decision of the college that I went to, not based on soccer. And just because I didn't know any better, I chose that college. I go there. Hey, can I walk on? The guy's like, yeah, maybe 2 years from now. And it was like end of my career, and I never actually got to experience it. So it's like if I had someone advising me through that process that had a clear understanding of the landscape, maybe I would have played somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so just this gives you like a little bit of an insight into Temple Athlete Advisory Group and what we're about. We'll have some more extensive, longer episodes when we get college coaches on with very targeted questions, to their university, to the division that they coach at, how they're building their program, how the landscape's changing, how they go about recruiting, and what's important. Those will be on future episodes, as well as bringing in, former players, current college players, wide variety of connections here. So we hope you continue to join us and follow the episodes. Super excited. Obviously, like we're people too.
Yeah.
We just bought our World Cup tickets, flying out to LA to watch the third game, the U.S. versus their to-be-determined opponent.
Yep.
Going with Pops and our other brother. So, I mean, in the end of this, we're people too, and
Yep.
we want to connect with real people, and we've all been through this process, and so it's just kind of that down-to-earth relationship that's important to us, and we appreciate you following us, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So just make sure that you tune in to bookmark this wherever you're listening to, whether it's YouTube, Apple Podcasts, bookmark it, follow our Instagram page, temple.aag. I'll make sure I put it in the description of this. But we're going to give you a lot of good insights. I think no matter what, our goal will be you could never work with us and you'll still get more value and insights than you would get working with other people. And if we can make that our benchmark, one, you'll be in a better place, you meaning you, but then also the people who are the right fit will end up working with us through this process, and we'll make sure that you find your best fit. So we appreciate you tuning in here, and keep an eye out for the next one.
Excited to see you guys.